right, folks, we are back with another unofficial review. This time we're back with
Yeah.
The Rings of Power, our final spoiler full review after watching the whole season. We got Nate
Right. So
here, we
this is
got
our
Tim
second
here.
one, right?
Yeah, I'm Christian here. Yeah, this is the second review of the season. We did the first one after I think the first 3 or 4 episodes, somewhere earlier
Yeah, I think
on.
so. Yeah.
Now we
hmm
watched the whole thing.
The
By
whole
we, I
thing.
mean Nate and myself. Tim has watched one episode, but will be enjoying all the spoilers along the way. So, first question, I guess, for you, Nate, since you watched the whole thing. Thoughts
Yes.
about the season overall? How'd you like it?
Listen, I really liked it. I liked the suspense. Um, I don't know. I liked the suspense. I liked everything. Well, okay. If I'm going to be absolutely honest, I do not like Galadriel's character. I guess maybe I don't really understand where they're coming from. Like she, suffered a bunch of loss, and so she became like this person who doesn't kind of like listen. I mean, she's not listening. Sorry, not doesn't listen, but
True.
she's not
She's kind of
listening.
singularly
She's
focused on like what she wants to
she
do.
yeah, she's very focused and she's just ignoring everything else, or everybody else. Um, Not saying that I'm not with her. Like, she knows, she's doing what other people should be doing, but they're not, because they're afraid or whatever the
Got
situation
it.
is. But yeah, I did
So
like
you
it.
you you
What
just you
about you?
dislike her character, or you don't think the character is written well?
I,
Like,
I mean,
do you just
what
not
would the
like
difference be?
Galadriel and the way she's acting, or do you think,
Oh no, I love
or do you think
Galadriel.
that they wrote her in a way that you think is like you don't like the way that they characterize it? I guess if that question even
Yeah,
makes
I,
sense.
I think she was written. I think she was written very uppity, you know, very cocky. Which, like, did we discuss that when she was like training? Oh no, we didn't. Sorry, I was talking about it with another friend. But like when the people of Numenor, when the guys were training,
Hmm.
right? And then the guy, what's his name? Isildur's father was like, if any of you can draw blood, you'll be promoted or
Right.
whatever. And she was just very show offy, sort of thing. And I was just like, that's not necessary, sort of thing. And she was just, that's the type. I think that she could have been written much better. She is very like badass, which I really like, especially when she was like in the like, when they were coming to protect that village, and she was just flipping
Oh,
from
right. She
side
was
to
like hanging
side
on the
on
side
the
of the
horse
horse,
and stuff.
dodging
Yeah,
spears and like
yeah, exactly.
cutting orc heads off. It was crazy.
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
What did you think?
I don't really mind the way she's characterized. I think because it's such a difference from how she ends up being in Lord of the Rings, because there she's very calm and kind of just
Right,
for the most part until Frodo offers her the ring and she kind of loses it for a second.
right, yeah,
But
yeah,
you like, but now you kind of see a little bit about kind of what that was about, kind of how she internally was kind of a little bit power hungry and was kind of scared
yeah.
of that. But I'm
hmm
curious to see how over the seasons if they kind of show her progression from this kind of wild, vengeful elf to being more cerebral and calm and thoughtful
Yeah.
and kind of how she gets there. I think part of it
hmm
based off of this big mistake she made by trusting Sauron, essentially, right? I mean,
Yeah.
spoiler alert,
Right.
everyone. Plenty of
Yeah.
spoiler here today, but Halbrand was one, I think, a very obvious Sauron.
I
I
think
think a
so.
lot of people
Yeah.
suspected it was him, and so I enjoyed the season a lot, and I don't mind that it was kind of obvious as it was him because
hmm
to me that makes it more fun to go back and watch it, and also
What
it makes sense.
did okay? So it wasn't. I mean, it did make sense, like you were saying. It does make sense, but I didn't think that a lot of people thought that that was obvious because I remember when I think it was so there's 8 episodes, right? So it's the seventh, or was it the sixth episode? I don't remember what it was. It was the episode where I can't remember. Anyways, everyone apparently online, they thought that it was
The Stranger.
the star, the stranger. Yeah, they thought he was
Nah,
Sauron. Like it was just all online, and I was like, I don't think that. Like it, but they were given their theories about the his fire was cold. I mean,
yeah,
well, it didn't
yeah,
burn, right? And stuff like that, and how he had killed um, like the
right.
fireflies and stuff
Yeah, he
like
was
that.
definitely on
But
Sauron watch. So he was definitely on the list of people that people thought it could
yeah,
have been, along with Halbrand. But I think
but like I didn't think
really,
that.
well, see,
Like
here's the other
I
problem that for me was I. So there were three different YouTube channels that I watched recaps for after every episode. On top of
okay.
that, I listened to a podcast that was a good hour podcast for each episode. Plus, they had some pre-episodes before the series came out. So I probably watched somewhere in the vicinity of maybe 10 hours of additional YouTube content, plus another
Jeez.
probably 12 hours of podcast audio listening. So I was like
Oh
very
my
steeped
goodness.
into like the whole thing.
Yes, you
Well,
were into
because
that.
like I read Lord of the Rings. I watched the
Right.
movies. I watched some of the Hobbit movie. Didn't read the Hobbit, and I've not read any other of Tolkien's work. So for me, I was like, okay, I want to kind of get an idea around what people that are steeped in Tolkien, like how they feel about it, and kind of the pieces that are going to be behind the scenes and kind of tying together. So I was deep into a lot of that. So the whole time they were kind of thinking probably The Stranger, probably Halbrand. But when at least with what I was watching, when they really were leaning hard towards Halbrand was when he was in the jail cell and he told
Hmm.
Galadriel basically, the way that you essentially get power over someone is to
Hmm.
offer them the means of kind of conquering what they're afraid of, which is
Hmm. Yeah.
exactly what Sauron is doing, right? So like the minute he said that, it kind of perked my ears, and then everyone was watching was
Hmm.
like, "That's a very Sauron thing to say. If he's not Sauron, it'll be shocking, but." That was a very Sauron thing to say. And the fact that he was
But see,
obsessed with like blacksmithing and all those little things that you go back and look at it, you see it's there. Especially if you
yeah.
kind of already know a lot of the story.
But I see, and that's the thing because I don't know a lot of the story at all. I didn't read the books or anything like that, and I did not know until after this last episode that Sarwin was the one that I knew he created the One Ring, but I didn't know he was the one that created the other rings that he gave to the other
Mm-hmm.
tribe, to the tribes or whatever. I didn't know that he was involved in that
Right.
creation. I thought those rings were given. I don't know where that thought came from, but I thought they were given to them from some like other, like not elves, but like like wizard, like because the wizards are supposed to be like these, what are they called, the Istari or something. I
Yeah,
forgot what the
they're
whatever.
Mayas. They're kind of like they're almost, I would say in our terms maybe like angelic beings, kind of, sort of like
Yeah, yeah,
they're
exactly.
not.
So I thought the rings had come kind of from there, and they just ended up corrupting the humans because, well, humans. But yeah, so I didn't realize. So when I heard him say that, it didn't
Got it.
trigger anything. Like I was just like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, which I think is really cool though, because they put these little pieces in there that people steeped into it would be able to pick out and see and kind of follow.
Right.
And then for those
Yeah.
that don't know, you'll go back and see it and like,
Hmm.
oh, that's why he said that, or that's why he did that. You can kind of
Yeah.
rewatch with some.
And that's why you want to go back
Yeah, I'm gonna
over
watch
it
it
and
again.
see
Like, so I can
like.
kind of see little stuff he does. Like again, when he asked Adar, like, "Do you remember me?" Right? Because Adar swore he killed him, and so
Adar.
Adar is that the I guess he's a dark elf. He was kind of
Oh
one
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
orcs, right? That like got
Right.
turned. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
he thought he killed Sauron, which I'm curious what that. I hope they show us what actually happened. And
Hmm.
is
Okay.
Halbrand, is his look, is that Sauron's actual look, or is that just another? Because he can kind of shapeshift, I believe. So is that just a skin he's got on right
Can
now?
because
You know.
he's a I didn't know he could
Yeah,
shapeshift.
he's
He
also
is
a
a
Maiar, so the same kind of beings as like the wizards would have been. So
oh
yeah,
right. I think
yeah.
I
So
did read that
he's not
somewhere.
human either.
Okay.
So again, yeah, he's definitely, that's why he's like, he's been around since before.
But he's not human, but he was under the command of Morgoth, right?
Yes.
I mean, he was with his army. And do you think he was actually regretting? because that's what they kind of alluded to. Like he regretted being, like he was trying to escape
Yeah.
that,
Well,
and
it
then
seems like at the very least he didn't like being under someone else's control. At the very least, right? He was like, "Look, I didn't like
okay,
him kind of lording over me. Like I wanted to do my own thing." I can't tell
right,
how much he seems to have wanted to rule Middle Earth in his own way and heal it in his
right,
way, which Morgoth
mm-hmm.
was more about like just destruction. He wasn't really. He
Right,
was trying to
okay,
like destroy it, whereas at least
mm-hmm.
Sauron
Yeah,
wanted to rule it, and so in which case you can't destroy it if you want to rule the thing. So
right,
now,
yeah,
how much of him was actually sad or regretful or wanted to truly help is hard to know because he's such a liar. He's the
right,
typical
yeah,
kind of Lucifer type character. He's constantly deceiving, lying, tricking, angling. So
mm-hmm.
is any
Yeah,
of it true what he's saying and his apparent
yeah.
motivations? Hard to say.
And that's the problem because I'm one of these type of people who always wants the bad guy to have like a redemption arc, you know? It's
Yeah.
so bad, but like I'm like looking for him being like um it might be misguided, but still like pure heart, sort of thing. But we all know the end
Right.
of the
Yeah. So I
story,
mean, he
so
may have a change of heart for a period of time, maybe a true one.
yeah.
Hard to say.
Mhm.
Um, I
Yeah.
think it'll be interesting that Adar is definitely not on his side, and so we'll
Mhm.
see once they
So
kind of. Yeah,
Adar was the guy that I thought maybe would
he was
have
also on the
been.
watch list, right?
Yeah, exactly. I thought he was, but because, excuse me, it wasn't saying that he was creating orcs, but he was treating them as like his brothers, um, and that's what Saruman was doing, right? So he was actually creating, twisting
Yeah,
orcs as
Saruman was kind
well,
of
right?
twisting
Oh,
the.
sorry,
Yeah, he.
twisting
Well,
elves to become orcs,
Sauron
right?
or Saruman.
Saruman, the wizard, the
So
white
yeah, so
wizard,
Saruman
Saruman.
was twisting the orcs to make the Uruk-hai that were kind of able to like run around during the day.
I'm sorry.
That
Yes,
was
yes,
Saruman. Yeah.
exactly. So that's why I thought. That's why I thought. What's his name? Adar would have been
Mm,
Sauron because I don't know. It was just kind of like a line of progression.
right.
Maybe he's twisting elves to become orcs, and then now, Saruman was twisting orcs to become
The
what do you call it?
Uruk-hai. Yeah.
Uruk-hai? Yeah. So I don't know. That's just what I was thinking, but
So,
I don't know very much of the lore. So
so I have a question though. Since you guys have seen the whole season now,
Hmm.
and just about, um, would you guys consider this show to be family friendly?
D- I mean,
I
it
mean,
depends on your standards for your children. Like there's like no sex scenes or anything, and there's no cursing, right?
Hmm.
There's some
I'm, yeah,
blood. I mean, there's violence, right? And so,
Hmm.
yeah,
but it's not like anyone getting decapitated is an orc, so they're not humans. I mean, people are
I mean,
getting
that
stabbed
happened
and
in the
stuff.
movie, so
Yeah, right. Yes. I mean, I think it's probably, yeah. If your kids can watch the movies, the show isn't any worse than that.
yeah. It's
okay,
as
Yeah.
family friendly
Yeah.
as
I
the
mean, it's not
movies
like,
are.
oh, it's a
yeah.
family show. Bring all your little small children, unless that's how you roll. I think it's kind of
Right.
No, I
subjective. But yeah,
like I
there's
like to have my
no.
children watch people get
Yeah,
decapitated,
it's not like
and
watching Saw. Like it's not like that, and it's not like sex scenes and all kind
Uh,
of cursing and kind of
cool.
crazy stuff. There's none of that. It's not Game of Thrones by any
which I'm
stretch.
very
So
happy about.
Yeah,
it's a
because I'm
whole
gonna I'm gonna I'm
different
gonna
flavor.
watch this. I'm gonna watch this one, but I'm gonna watch it probably with the way I'm gonna have to watch it is probably with my kids and my wife because we're all gonna
Good
watch it.
luck with that. Well, it's a fun fantasy type show. Even though not a lot of like magic is going on. I mean, you see some towards the very
Right.
end when when whoever that is, they don't know, they don't say his name, but they say he's a
Right.
whatever, the stranger, like he's battling the three
Yeah.
whatever they
Those
were.
I guess they were called nomad. I
Whatever
think they
they
were
are.
nomads or whatever they were, but they were mystics. I think is what the term was for them. But
Oh yeah, because because that confused me too. That battle right there, that confused me. Well, not the battle, before the battle, they were like they called him
right,
Sauron, and I was like, I still don't think that that's Sauron. Like that
no,
just doesn't make any sense. And like in my head, I was like, well, why would he have fallen from the stars again? You know, so like um, unless he had gotten to Earth, went back, and then I
yeah,
guess tried to go back and
it
they
was
cast him down again. But it just didn't make any sense because I was like, well, he's already on Earth. Why is he coming back down to Earth? Like I was just like, that doesn't make sense. Plus, he's old as
yeah.
he's he's old as dirt already. So like this guy, whoever this guy is, he's already been around for a lot longer than Sauron has.
What's interesting is that they
So
seem to at least be trying to trick us to believe this is Gandalf. I don't know that it is Gandalf because lore
I don't think it's
wise,
Gandalf either.
Gandalf wouldn't have come until the third age, and we're still in the second age. So strictly by timeline,
But
it
could
shouldn't be Gandalf.
but could he have come and left?
Again, that's not in the actual lore. Now they could do that and find some way to make it happen,
Hmm.
but if they were going to stick to the lore,
Yeah,
it shouldn't be Gandalf. Now I think it really is. There's all these little hints about that he might be
it
Gandalf
being
from
Gandalf.
him.
Hmm.
Even the way he spoke to the Fireflies when he turned those guys, when
Hmm.
we turned those mystics, and they kind of disintegrated into like moths. Which,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
also when he mentioned when Nori was trying to figure out which way to go, he basically said, "Follow
Hmm.
your nose." That's like a direct
Yeah.
Gandalf quote from the movie. So
Oh, is it? I don't. I did. I knew it was
yeah,
supposed to be because I saw it
right.
online, but I was
Yeah,
like, I don't recall
he's
that. So.
very Gandalfy. Even the fact that he's with the hobbits. Well, I guess the Harfoots, but
Yeah.
no, it
The
would make sense
Harfoots.
that he
Yeah.
would have kind of have an affinity for them from now, if it
Right.
is him. So
But he could be
yeah,
Gandalf's dad.
he could be
I
a
Oh,
don't
different
know
wizard.
how
That maybe
that
all the
works.
wizards are similar in that way. It's hard to say, but
Hmm.
who knows?
Well, because I read about like I just went into kind of like this Wikipedia
Well, you got
like
to
search after the last episode, and I found out that like the wizards have like different, I don't know, like different colors or something
right.
like that. Because there was like a white wizard, and then there's a wizard that wears brown, I guess. So that was the Rush, whatever his
Radagast,
name
yeah,
was,
he
that
was
was in
in.
the
Yeah,
movies. Radagast, yeah. And then apparently there's a wizard that
yeah. I
wears
think there were
blue,
two of them,
which
which were kind
oh,
of
two
over
of
in
them.
the east in Rune, which is where he's going now. So that's why he could be one of the blue wizards, and they're trying to trick us to
Oh,
think it's Gandalf. But
but he looks like a gray wizard. I mean, everything about him is gray.
right,
I mean, he even like you said, like he he his magic is gray wizard magic.
yeah, his
Except he could, I guess he no, because Gandalf was talking to. So in the movie, Gandalf was talking to the moths, and they became eagles, right?
well, no,
Is that that's what
he sent
happened?
the
If
moth
I'm not
out, I guess, to
mistaken.
go get help, and then the eagles
yeah.
came back.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay,
spoke to it. He was like,
okay,
and it was like,
right.
it went off.
Because that's something I would think that Radagast or whatever, because he's the wizard of the
Right, he was of nature.
animals, or he has like an affinity towards the animals or something like that. I wanted to see much more about, like, I'm all about like wizards and magic and all this other stuff. There's very little that happens in this
True, true.
show. So, ugh. Anyways, okay. So you liked it. We both
Oh
liked
yeah,
it. I think you probably liked it a little bit more
yeah.
than I
I
did.
give it a solid 9. I think it's great. I think I'll watch it
I
again,
gave it a
and
nine.
I'll probably once this all 5 seasons are done, I'll probably watch it all again, just to get a nice sit down for a week. But I do
Okay.
hope.
There's supposed to be
Yeah, so
five
it's already
seasons.
planned out to be 5 seasons. So I hope
Wow.
they stick to
Okay.
the plan and do it because that to me means they're able to like
They better. They
tell the
spent a lot
story
of
in the
money on
way
that.
they want to and like do it correctly. I hate when a show starts out and
Yeah.
they can't finish it and then it's
Yeah.
just you can't pay off everything and it's like loose ends are out there and you're just left
Yeah.
hanging.
Listen, they already spent however much money to get the rights to do this. So
Yeah.
listen, I hope they have it. It is Amazon. They don't
Right.
pay taxes. So
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I guess the last thing I want to ask you about is, how'd you feel about, I guess, all the stuff happening over in Numenor?
Oh, about the guy
Yeah, he
dying, about
died,
her
and
dad
the queen's going
dying.
back blind, and
Yeah. I didn't understand why they made her blind. But I suppose we'll figure it out later. Going back to Numenor, I guess was I liked her vow that she made to Galadriel, because because the guy was just like he was mourning his son. Um, I forgot his name. I don't know the commander's
Elendil.
name or whatever.
Yeah,
Elendil. Oh, okay. God, you're good with these
I
names.
told you
Right.
I've been into it pretty deep. So
Yeah. Like I could see why he wouldn't want to come back, but the queen was like, "Yeah, we're
yeah,
we're coming back." Um, and but I guess like so what happened? Like he freaked out. He thought that the that Isol Is what's his name?
Isildur. Yeah.
Isildur? Isildur, sister, right? That's
Hmm.
his sister that was up
Right.
there drawing him. He thought that that was his daughter. Told her to go look into the, the ball. I don't. So we didn't see what happened
No,
after
they,
that,
they
right?
didn't
So
show. I
she went up
assume
there,
she
but we
probably
didn't
sees the
see.
same vision of the destruction of Numenor that everyone else saw in there. But
Right.
who's
Okay.
to say?
And then I guess she died. He dies because the flags turn. Uh, oh, I didn't actually see it. Liam told me, because they showed she was like, "What? What do you see?" And then they showed Numenor, and I was
Oh,
like,
you,
"I
you didn't recognize the
don't see
flags are all
anything."
black.
No,
And he was like,
I was like, "Okay, it looks the same." I was expecting like,
he's like rocks, boats, what?
I was expecting to be on fire or something the way that they were making it seem, but then Liam was like, "Yeah, it looks like the flags are black," and I was like,
Yeah, he
"Oh,
did.
didn't
He
see
did.
that."
Yeah, and I'm also
So
curious.
that's it.
Yeah,
What did you think?
I'm really curious why they felt the need to make us try to act like Isildur is dead, because
Yeah, because
he's
that doesn't.
obviously not dead.
He's obviously not dead.
So like why go through all of
He
it? I'm like,
absolutely
I
could
guess
not
it's to
be
make it
dead.
more, I guess, more drama for the characters. But I'm like, we all full well know he's not dead because he had
Yeah.
to cut the ring off of Sauron. Like we know that he keeps it and all that stuff. So
But do you think that they were trying to make the suspense about him not being dead, or explain why he stayed on Middle Earth? Because I think that that would explain more why he was able to cut the ring off of
well, I mean, I
Sauron.
believe they're going to come back anyway, at least some portion of the Numenorians. Now, Farazan does eventually, you know, cause issues over there. So
Yeah, but does Numenor come to fight in the battle with against
they don't
Sauron?
exist by then. Spoiler alert.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. He said spoiler
yeah,
alert.
yeah. They're not around anymore by that point. That's all I'll say about that. But
The entire
they,
island? Jeez Louise. Is this according to
yeah,
lore?
yeah. But I mean,
Oh,
but you see that they keep showing that vision, so that eventually
yeah,
is a
yeah.
thing. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's not for nothing to keep seeing that.
I totally didn't know. Like I was like, I thought maybe they would be able to prevent the destruction of Numenor, because because the dad, like because he kept saying, right, he was like, we have to turn back to
Right.
the
Yeah.
ways,
Well,
the
exactly.
old ways. So
That's what he was trying to do. But as you already saw, people were kind of had a lot of elf hate. They're taking our
yeah,
jobs. They live
okay.
forever. Blah 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 blah
Oh my
blah.
god.
Like they're all mad. So they're not really with it
Oh
for
my
some reason.
goodness.
Even though, again, like they were kind of gifted that island because for helping the elves, and that's why they also live longer than regular humans. They have more of a longer lifespan. Not as long as
Hmm.
elves, more like a couple hundred years, which is why
Right.
like Aragorn is so old because he has from that same bloodline in Lord of the Rings. So because he's actually like I think like supposed to be like 70 or 80 in that movie. He's just
Oh, Aragorn from
yeah
the
he's just been
movies.
around a
Okay, yeah,
long
yeah.
time because
Okay.
he has that same Numenorean blood essentially from passing down. So
Oh, I didn't know
Huh.
that.
yeah, so look,
Well, the pieces
I'm
are
a
coming
font of
together.
knowledge about this right now. It's and but it's amazing because I was trying to explain to my son like I guess I didn't realize how deep people get into Tolkien. Like he's like a literary subject. Like people like do like scholarly work on his body of work. It's not like Marvel where it's like a bunch of comics, right? And like people
Right,
like
right.
there's like people that literally study him, so there's
Yeah,
societies, there's college courses, it's all kind of stuff
yeah,
out there around all, and people learn the languages because those languages are all like complete languages. Like there's
yeah.
multiple
Apparently, he
Elven languages.
created
There's
them.
Quenya,
Yeah.
and then the other one is I can't recall, but like there's two different Elven languages. People know these. The dwarves have their language. There's the
Yeah,
like people know all this and study the languages like it's a real language. So like there's so
it's like
much
Klingon from
out
Star Trek.
there around it. It's a lot.
Jeez,
It's a lot. So,
that is a lot.
but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
You enjoyed it.
I
Would you
will
give it an
enjoy
eight?
it.
8.5?
Well, I think I would have given it a like. I think I probably would have given it like a
7.
7 or 8.
Mostly because you
Between a 7.
you wanted more magic. Is that the main reason?
Yeah, I think that's probably the main reason. Like, it's a fantasy
Yeah.
movie. Can we see some like
Now, did the
fantasy,
movies have enough magic
like
for you in that way?
honestly? I mean, a show. No,
Yeah, because I was gonna
God,
say that the
no.
movies are similar.
No,
It's not a
which
lot
is
of
also why I'm not super into
Right.
the movie. Like,
yeah.
I'm,
it's supposed to be a fantasy genre, and I this is what I was telling Liam. I'm like, these are supposed to be elves. They have no powers.
I mean, their primary power is that from the lore's
They live
perspective,
forever.
they were calling them kind of they're not immortal, but they live as long
Mhm.
as the
They're
earth
not
lives.
killed.
Also, so
Oh.
they basically, but their spirits actually go and come back into a different body. So they kind of
Oh.
are perpetual until the earth
Recycle.
itself ends, and then they're done. But they're tied to like the life of the earth essentially. So
Right.
as long as it's here, they keep living. But yeah, it's very fascinating though. The lore of it is very interesting. I didn't realize it was so deep and there's so much there. But
So a friend of mine was telling me that he had seen this somewhere. I had never seen it, but he was telling me that apparently Tolkien based the elves off of his wife or something like that, who was I guess he was saying all the elves are like white and blonde or something to that effect or something. I
oh,
can't
that
remember, but he had based it off
I
of
don't know if that's necessarily
his
true.
wife, that he was super like in love with her or something to that effect, so he made it like
I hope it's not.
that. Oh, that's why all of them look
It's
that way.
there. I hope
Well, it's
that's
funny
not that it's
what I've heard.
huh.
Yeah, I was gonna say like even like the idea that the elves have long hair, like that's mostly based off of the movies. Like that's not explicit to like the actual books as far as the long hair part, right? But a lot of people were like, "How come these elves have short hair?" And then the show, and it's like, well, the books didn't say they all had long hair. Like you watched the movies, and then it kind of stuck, as far as the true lore. Which again, it's all fake,
Right.
right? But as far as the
Right.
lore itself, they're not required to have long fluid hair per se. But yeah, interesting.
And Tolkien and then what's his name, C.S. Lewis used to be friends, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
If
They
I'm
have a
not
little bit
mistaken.
different way of writing, but they're both writing books around morality in a way. Like Tolkien's story
Mhm.
isn't just random fantasy. He is trying to kind of teach something in a way. It's not straight allegory like C.S. Lewis is. Like, oh, Aslan is God. Like it's all very obvious,
Yeah.
right? Tolkien isn't that obvious. It's much more muddied, but there's still certain lessons that you can see kind of flow through. Even the way that Morgoth rebelled and took some of the Maya with him, like there's pieces you can kind of see, but it's not as straightforward as C.S. Lewis.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. No, this is definitely a show. If they come out with the when they come out with the second season, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like fantasy, if you like Lord of the Rings, I don't see why you wouldn't enjoy this show, unless you're some kind of very strict, hardcore lore nerd. But even there, I think you'll find something to like. I think you'll still like it. So.
You just have to be. Yeah, I like it.
Go for it.
All right. Well,
we got it.
That's gonna wrap up our review of the Lord of the Rings series, or the Rings of Power. Which we actually didn't even talk about, the 3 rings that were created.
Oh, I know, right?
Which I didn't know about either. Again, I had to go and research all of this.
What's interesting there is that since Sauron left, he never touch those rings, which is significant because
Yeah.
he actually doesn't have power over those three.
Yeah, which apparently,
I think he wanted
and
to, but
mhm,
he kind of, at least the way that they described it here, he kind of fled because he kind of got found out,
yeah,
and so they were able to continue
yeah,
making them, and they made 3 instead of 2, right?
right.
And then
But then I also found out that even the rings that he created for the elves, um, he was unable to like control them with those rings for some reason. I can't remember.
for the
Like they
elves, or you
found
mean
out
the
when.
dwarves or the humans?
No, the elves. Apparently, he had created, right. So he had created what? How many? 10 for the humans,
I think the humans had 9,
uh,
the
or
dwarves had
9,
7,
right?
and then
And
the elves
then
had these 3, which he never actually got control over.
no, wait. He had given. Didn't wait. No. Listen, I read something because apparently there were
I
20
mean, didn't they
rings.
do the whole breakdown like in the beginning of the movie too, though?
Yeah, there's 3 for the elves. Dwarves have 7, that's 10. Humans had 9,
Right.
that's 19,
Yeah.
and then the one ring
Oh, plus he had the one
makes
one
20.
ring. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I told you,
Okay.
I've been in deep. I've been in deep. It's a
Plus,
problem.
they said that there were many other rings, according to the lore, that there were many other rings that were created.
Now that I don't recall.
No? Yeah, that's what I read anyway. I read it on, I don't know, Wikipedia maybe? I don't know. Whatever.
Wikipedia.
Anyways, listen. It was, listen, that's all I got. It was on something. Jeez. Okay, I've started trying to write a book, something similar to that, but a lot more magic. But it's probably not going to come to fruition. Maybe it will.
We got time. We're still young.
Yeah. Yes.
Many years left.
All right. Well, yeah. Check us out on again on our other reviews, our other unofficial reviews on YouTube.
Twitter, Instagram.
I was going to say Netflix. It's not
Nope.
Netflix.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
We out
All of
there.
our socials. Like and subscribe
Yes,
on YouTube.
we appreciate
and,
that.
And yeah. So we will see y'all again for another
All
review.
right, folks. See you later.